All right, guys, this is episode number 10. This is episode number 10 of the Mad Maker Show. And welcome to the show, guys. A couple of things. Boy, I totally ran a blank. Oh, I know. JP thinks that he can kick my butt scroll sawing, so we're going to have ourselves a little competition that's coming up sometime in the future. We've been at it behind the scenes like crazy. I think Al from Odessa, he's heard a little bit of that controversy. But we'll leave that to the side. Do you have anything to say about that, JP? I'm not going to just,
Yeah, keep running your mouth. And are you finished? Do you want me to?
No, I just had to throw that in there because I ran a blank and then I popped that into my head, so I wanted to shoot that out there.
I don't need to do no talking. I'll let my work do the talking for me.
Well, you heard it here. It's gonna be painful. The sting will hurt. Anyways, because you see, JP is a pretty darn good scroll sawer, newbie as he is, right?
Yeah, a newbie guy. I actually done this today for Mr. Red Smith himself.
That is trippy. Say it again so it can pop up.
There you go.
Does he know?
Yeah, I've tagged him in it.
Did you video it or no?
Nah. I just had a little bit of what's left over, so but why not make Red Smith a gift?
All right, so listen, guys, this is the Mad Maker Show, and you guys know the spiel, but I'm going to just tell you. Well, number one, I'll tell you, I had kale soup or stew, and I also had sushi with it. Now, that combination might be surprising and shocking to a lot of people, but with a couple of beers, I'm basically like all the blood rushed to my stomach, so I'm not thinking properly. But I just want to say, Mad Maker, what we're trying to do is interview people that are on the creative side of things, and it could be woodworking, it could be metalworking, it could be crafts of all sorts, drawing, computer, CNC, anything, right? That where someone takes something that's something and changes it into something else and creates a work of art or a functional, item. And we want to look into these people's lives because, at least for myself, I've always noticed that these people are quite eccentric in certain ways and very normal in other ways, but there's just always this little thing that sort of makes them lean into the insane, right? Not insane like an axe murder, although that's quite possible. You do have some bloodthirsty creative people out there, but more so where they're not afraid to change things up and step outside of their bounds and explore what needs to be explored. Okay, so everybody serves a function in this world, and makers have a special place in it, I feel. So we're trying to get into the heads of these people. Last bit here before I throw it over to JP. We are sponsored and we're members of the Makers Media Network. If you guys, think that you can contribute and also be helped out, we're sort of like, what would you call that, JP? It's like a group effort. I don't know what the technical word would be.
A gang.
A gang.
A cult.
Well, you can check out that website. I've got my little logo right there, somewhere there. And you can check that out. And there's a lot of members in it already, and they help each other out with videos. You publish a video, and they share it around and support it. A lot of things to it, but my brain's not active 100% right now. Charles, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate that, dude. What can I tell you? No words. We'll leave a link to Charles, but everybody kind of knows Charles. already, but we'll leave a link to him there, JP, if that's possible after I turn it over to you. So anyways, that's my bit before we get started, and I'll pass it over to the co-host and moderator, JP.
Well, I'm JP or Jamie. Eli had kale, or whatever that stuff is. I can't remember. It's him and Javi have different, whatever that is, whatever kale is. Javi has his own reasons of what it is. I think it's chocolate, and it peanut butter and chocolate kale or something. I don't know. But I had for dinner beef stew and dumplings. I don't know if that's a British meal or whatever, but that's what I had.
Is dumplings like what is that?
It's made from suet, flour, a bit of salt and pepper. You just add water to it, and you kind of chop it up all together, and so it makes like a dough, if you like. And then you pop it in like a gravy or some sort of sauce, if you like, and then just let it cook until they go kind of rigid and come out, and they're like, I don't want to say fluffy because that wouldn't be the word. They're just kind of like really hard, basically. But yeah, that's basically what I had.
Nice.
But as opposed to my social medias, I am 1/5 of the Makers International podcast, which can be found at makersinternationalpodcast.com. You can find my website at jp-woodwork.com. You can find my YouTube channel at jpwoodwork.com. No, JP Woodwork is my YouTube channel. And the podcast website and my personal website is all helped run by Steve Needham of Harnell Media, which can be found at harnellmedia.com. So thank you very much once again, Steve. Back to you.
Thank you. All right, so today we have a dude that I've known for a good while. JP's known him longer, and his name is, I like to call him Doc, and that's it. But we can't do that because you have to know who the heck he is and how to find him, right? So we'll just use his whole name, but I'll add the Doc at the beginning. It's Doc Jared Hildabrant. And dude, thank you so much for coming on and saying hey to us.
I'd like to thank you guys for having me tonight.
So
pleasure to be here.
Oh, dude, the pleasure is ours. So, I'm looking at your shop there and stuff, and you have some crazy items there. Can you talk to us? What's going on there? What are those two characters sitting there behind you?
I don't know. This is just the incarnation of maybe some shop psychosis. I have a bit of a reputation as a sweeper, like a shop sweeper, rightly so, well earned. If I'm in a hangout or talking to people on the phone, usually sweeping is just like a nervous habit that I have. So if I find myself with nothing to do, I usually go to that. So that's manifested into me always having the broom, which, anything that's good, it gets that much better if you put googly eyes on it. If one is good, two is better. So I don't know.
Well, there's a lot to talk about you and with you. So a couple of things I'll start off with. I met you first, I believe that this is true, on the Maritime Makers Show. Is that true?
I believe that is correct. I sat on the panel. That was your spotlight show. And I'd seen the first time I had ever seen any of your stuff was earlier in that week, and it was just like, oh, all right, one time's an accident, twice is a trend. You know what I mean? Now, so.
Well, what did you think? What did you think? Because I don't know what I was doing at the time, but I'm all over the place.
I'm trying to remember some of the. Oh no, I remember thinking it was cool. I dug the beard right away. Skulls, you know what I mean? Music. I could tell, we had a lot of common, and I think that my initial reaction was correct because Me and you do have a lot in common. We seem to get along real well, and the conversations are always good.
Awesome, dude. So, and how did you meet? When was the first time you met JP?
I don't know.
Probably through the same means, I think, but maybe a couple of years earlier.
Yeah, Facebook groups and such. You see people's names keep popping up. You keep popping up in the comments with the same people, and I can tell right away that JP was, as they say, a king mixer.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this, right at the offset here. Although I kind of wanted to do some sort of decent timeline where things follow some sort of linear thing, but screw that. I want to touch upon for those of you that out there that haven't seen Doc's work, so Doc's videos are incredibly well thought out on many levels. Okay, bottom line, in an art, although you don't. Damn, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm hearing like an airplane, very close, very low, like that deep, deep, deep bass rumble. This might not be appropriate for the show, but it was quite disturbing that I had to stop and turn around because it felt like an airplane was going to land right on top of my house. All right, so
You've got insurance, didn't you?
Well, I don't know. Does that fall into the category? I guess it would. The airline would have to pay for it. So your videos are very well thought out on many levels, and so you never mention it outwardly, the psychology behind it or your thoughts or any of that. You just do it, and people see it and they take it in and all that. But you do have an incredibly high standard when it comes to what you're working on, and we've talked about that in the past. I'm very chaotic. I can have high standards, and at the same time, I can throw because I'm everywhere, right? I could do just I feel free to go crazy and like, but you take meticulous in your delivery. At least that's my perception. Can you talk to us a little bit of? I'll stick to one thing. What is your video inspiration, the style? What is that?
Style-wise, I take if you look at my videos lately, especially like the last 3 where I feel like I've figured it out a little bit what I'm trying to do, I take shots. If you look at some of the shots of what I do, like there's the action shots, and those are what they are. But I try to use different perspectives. I steal from Stanley Kubrick a lot. You know what I mean? Anytime you see me like inside of a tool, or I try to do that 0-point perspective from like dead ahead where everything's diminishing to like the middle of my chest. You know what I mean? Or I'm the other one I like to use is center frame. I think that's the other person I steal from a lot is Wes Anderson. Those movies, that overhead shot. A lot of makers steal from, but I like to try to like unfold things and like, what I mean, have things come in and out of the shot seamlessly. That's his thing, and that center of the frame thing. Those are a couple things I steal from him. As far as actual video content, though, I try to put everything in a digestible bite. Like, if I can keep people from scrubbing, I think about myself watching a video. And my shot attention span at this point, so I just try to keep things, boom, 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 movement, something shiny. I do have a high standard, I guess. I don't want to come off like highfalutin or whatever. That was my perception.
Yeah, you can correct me.
I told you one time, and I meant it. Like, I have the video done before I turn on the camera. Like, you know what I mean? And I can usually work myself all the way through, and I just have to fill in the parts. Like, this is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to accomplish it. Couple shots here and there, edit a couple things. I do it kind of in a manic state. I edit everything, like, in the speed that it goes. Like, it's real quick, all jump cut. And it seems to come together.
Yeah, I can understand when I watch videos, I can understand. And by the way, I take it all in, so but I can see when someone's thinking cinematically or on a level I want to say subliminal level, although that might not be the case with you, but where thought is being put behind it and inspirations are pouring out from that. And not to take that into account in video, in this medium that we work in, not to take that into account might be not a good thing. It's worth taking those things into account. So you digest, I guess, pop culture around you, and that's another thing. You digest it, and it comes through in your videos. Is that accurate? Or at least the tools or impressions that pop culture, being movies or whatever, those particular things that capture your eye, that translates into what you do. I mean, it's there. I would, if I would put money down on the table, I'd say that's 100% true. But you tell me.
Yeah, that's pretty close. The way I work in pop culture, maybe not, maybe anti-pop culture might be a little bit more accurate, but I'll find something, and maybe it's just a function of the way my brain works, but I'll find something and I'll just really obsess over it. A movie, 10 movies, you know what I mean, an author, not so much an author, I don't read very well, but you know what I mean, short stories or albums that, you know what I mean, somebody put together in a really short period of time and what they were into at the time. And I try to do that. I try to like just find something. If I find something I dig, I'll usually work my way through it completely find everything I can find about it, read everything I can read, and go through it. And I'm pretty good at taking points, like one or two things from that, and being like, oh, I really dug the way that this was like this, or I saw this. You know, sometimes I write things down or take pictures of things, and it's usually how it comes across. Weird things, though, you know.
You consume a lot of. I've noticed just by, and I appreciate that kind of thing in conversation. It seems like you consume a lot of, and when I say pop culture, I'm not necessarily talking about, say, 2017 pop culture. I'm just saying throughout, it could be that gritty, back in the day, movie culture, B movies. You have all these quotes that you use, that you throw out of nowhere in conversation that seems to fit. Sort of like little poetry you shoot out every now and that's just a creative way to think that you do. So I perceive you as incredibly creative. Does that just come automatically? Like you'll say something like, I don't know, blah blah blah. We're talking about I don't know, castles, and then you throw in a vampire, and then a quote from 1963, and this guy, like you just shoot out things that fit, but normal people would not mention it in conversation. Is that, you do it in a good amount, but that's just it shows your creativity.
It's a way I've come to speak over time. I actually think I stole it from my paternal grandfather, my dad's dad. He was like that. He always had something to say, or a one-liner, or something historical to put things in perspective. And more times than not, it was something that he had wrong, So I think that's why I started trying to, have something. But like, if I can remember, or I read something, or I see something, or hear something like a good quote, I could just kind of put that in the Rolodex, and I can never tell when something's gonna bust out, but like, you know what I mean? Someone will say something and a line from a movie will come up, or a quote from a song, or some bit, some short, like, I'm starting to think, like, now that you see the GIF coming up, they have the GIF bar. I think I've always kind of thought in GIF, like, you know what I mean? I have that like little like recurring 7-second like piece of information stuck in my brain that I can like, you know.
It's good.
Access.
It's good because at least for me, when I hear one, because you use them frequently, not every single minute, but like every now and then you'll pepper in a little something, a little quote, and you're like, it catches your attention, and it, you know, that's a clever thing. I think to myself, oh, that's a clever way to put that. You know, it's inspiring, so it stimulates the creative, the mind. I think you're nuts, right? I'm nuts too, so that's a good thing. Congratulations. Here's your certificate to the Nut Club. What do you think?
I'm sitting in my shop with brooms with googly eyes hot glued onto them. I'm
Right. That I'm okay with, right?
Us, huh?
That I'm okay with, right? That totally just. So, in the meantime, because now we're going to go to a couple of questions here, but in the meantime, JP, feel free to let the folks out there know if they have questions for Doc. For those of you that don't know Doc, all the descriptions to his links are in the description, except Doc, I didn't find your website one. I'll add that later after the show and all that.
Very good.
Okay. Is it straight up DocJaredHildabrant.com?
No, my website is still under construction, but I think there's a launch page there. There might not be.
Okay.
That's me not having completely finished it yet, but it will be just JaredHildabrant.com.
Okay.
We've actually already got questions from over in the chat. I'd already asked before you'd asked me to.
Okay, but before
go on.
JP, no, I just want to say that I know that it's going to happen like it always happens. They're going to have questions that are going to totally ruin my flow. Although the frickin' sushi and kale soup ruined my flow to begin with, but I know it's going to be derailed, debacled completely. But go ahead.
Okay. Well, there's already been quite a few questions. The first one is you've probably got it in your list of questions, but I'm going to say it first. White Creations, which is obviously Ryan Bitter, says, "What do you do for a living?"
Oh, I am a professional bullshitter. Now, I am a maintenance. I am a maintenance electrician.
You just screwed up. You just screwed up my the AdSense thing.
I did not.
Oh, bullshit.
No, don't, dude. What the hell? This is Mad Maker, but we're working under the format, for goodness sakes.
I'm not letting you blame it. Put all the blame on Doc. He's my friend.
Now you can share.
All right, no more. That's it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I am a maintenance electrician, which is just I'm an electrician, but I happen to work at a university, so I deal with a little bit more of the equipment than you would day to day as an electrician. So that's why I call myself a maintenance electrician. Electrical mechanic is actually what my job title is.
Okay. There's a follow-up question from Dan Brent. Says, how does the trade background influence your maker presence?
Presence? I don't know. I know that being that I work with tools all day long, I have a different way of thinking about some things and some other makers, people that are, dying to get out in their shops. Sometimes, like, I need to get away. Like, it happens to me. Like I say, that would be sometimes being in my shop and, holding my tools or wearing my tools or using my tools just isn't my happy place. And I have to just kind of be away from it. I think I'm a little bit more apt to burn out in my shop because of my day-to-day.
Mm-hmm. Got a couple now from Matt Hoss from Awesome Fun Things or Awesome Wood Things. He says, how awesome is it to be wearing yellow tinted glasses 24/7?
I don't know. It's pretty awesome. The antithesis of the yellow glasses is have sensitivity to light, and I used to wear sunglasses, but that kind of started to cause problems as I got further into my trade because, I'd be in a dark spot and then can't see, and then I'd always have my glasses flipped up as they would, like, you know, if I had the ones that transitioned from you know, dark to light, I'd always be doing something with my glasses up. And so I found that this was kind of the happy medium. I tried it a couple times. I've had them now full time for probably 7-8 years now. I have messed up a couple things as far as color, like where I've picked out a color of paint, and when I got it home or whatever, looked at it again, or didn't have my glasses on and looked at it, the color's been completely off from what I thought. So that is the one the one drawback of it. You know, I find that when I look at something, you know, and I'm trying to figure out what color it is or whatever, I do have to like flip up my specs quick and have a look. But past that, it's awesome, Matt, fellow Pennsylvania guy. How you doing, buddy?
And question number 2 from Matt was, what is your dream project?
Oh, dream project? I would like to build like a rat rod, like a shop truck. Maybe not a rat rod, but definitely like an older pickup truck or like van, something like that for the shop. I've always kind of been interested in hot rods, and for a while when I was younger, I thought I was going to be a mechanic, and you know, that's what my grandfather did. So I'm kind of car knowledgeable, but at the same time, I really wasn't into putting brakes on people's cars my whole life. But yeah, it would definitely be some sort of vehicle project, you know, something that I could have sit and work on for a while.
Very cool. I think that's about it from for the time being. Now, there was one from Chad. Sorry, he says, "Do you have any shirts for sale?"
I do. They are available via a Teespring campaign.
Well, let's talk about that. You have the Teespring campaign, and how do those work?
Basically, it's just you set your time frame on your campaign and it rolls over. The current campaign prints in 11 days. I will pull it up here. Yeah, prints in 11 days. And then so it just takes orders for the like 14 days and then it prints.
I bought one of your shirts, but I bought mine. Actually, I showed it in the last show. I bought mine in orange, safety orange, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the last campaign. This one ended.
This one just started, yeah.
And now there's one that started.
Yep. This current one has 11 days on it.
And what's up with the character here?
The character, that is, we call Murdoch. Doc and Murdoch, right? Yeah. It's kind of lame, but kind of funny at the same time. We're working that one out. JP did a turning, which was inspired by a picture that Sarah Connor did from Wartooth Designs. And then I had Javi from Javi's Woodshop, right? Is that what he goes by?
Yeah, yeah.
You're on the ball.
I am. Javi's Woodshop vectorized it for me. He did a great job. And, we got stickers and we got some shirts. Well, I'm working out some other merch right now. Looks good on a shirt. People seem to dig it. I'm really enjoying it. You know, I've only come out of my shop a couple times with something that, you know, in the maker world that I did that I thought was funny, and I showed my wife, and she also thought was funny. So I knew that it was pretty good.
Well, I went to Publix the other day, and with your shirt, supermarket, and the frickin' lady at the register, she said, "Whoa, that's you." You know, she thought it was me. I was wearing myself on the shirt because of the beard and whatnot. It was too funny, dude. I had to explain, no, this is my buddy, you know, and it doesn't matter if I explain it or not. Who cares, right? She's not gonna. But I felt I had to. I felt it was a sin to encroach upon your logo.
I tell you what, I wear it all the time now, and it's an adjustment to be that guy. And people look at your shirt, and they look at your face, and they look at your shirt again. It's like, yeah, I'm that full of crap. That's me. I'm not. Yep. You know, it's what
Well,
my
I know you don't see it that way. You actually enjoy it because it's the fun things, you know. You're creating your own world, and these are the items and logos and imagery that you choose to associate with and put out there. You know, I know you see it that way.
Yeah, it's kind of become a recent thing actually, and you know, the silly brooms and the toys and the whatever. And I kind of went through this period. I don't know, 6 years ago when my son was born, maybe before that, you know, where everything got so serious. And, you know, you wake up every day and, you know, I don't know, jamming that pole so far up my butt, you know, you couldn't get anything done and just very serious, and it caused anxiety and kind of like spiral into depression or whatever. And it just took me so long to figure out, you know, what was the cause of it. And, you know, now that my son is like 5 and he's in kindergarten and he's of that age where like stupid things are funny to him. And I think that's something that I might have lost. It's, you know what I mean? I used to be silly. Like I did silly things. I thought silly things were funny. And I think that that's kind of something that he's helped me like remember. It's like, you know what I mean? Yeah, I used to do stupid, silly stuff. And, you know, so maybe he's helped me, you know, rediscover that. But I've been in a lot better mental state. I don't know, even the last 6 months going forward, just because like of that rediscovery and that respark. You know, he came back from school, he said something, I was like, that was stupid. And then I started thinking about it, you know what, that's kind of funny. And then he said something the next day about, you know, him and his friends doing something stupid, and I was like, that's kind of funny. You know, I don't know if you just revert back to that, but it's definitely been welcomed, and I think that's, you know, a big part of that.
Well, you know, yeah. Although that's not my experience, you know, with a son or whatever. I'm pretty perceptive, and you know, there comes a time where you forget all those things that inspire you in life, and you start sort of trudging along, and it can be quite depressing and mundane and just lackluster as far as living. And so the adult thing, the adult experience, you know, it's good because you gain knowledge of the world, but you also become blinded to the simple things, or you could. I'm not obviously putting that on anyone, but it's my experience that most people go through those troughs of just lackluster. Everything is gray, to one extent or the other, and to remember that is such a beautiful thing. You know that, hey, we have a life to live, and we have a given time, and heck, let's live it, and let's look at things from an innocent perspective. Yeah, is that fair?
Yeah, you know, there's 1,000 reasons, or maybe, you know, there's always a reason to you know, to be upset about something or think something's not going to work. But you know, you gotta kind of see beyond that.
Yeah.
I have 2 boys. I have to find the positive nature. If I sat there and every time something happened, if I just took it on the chin, and though sky is falling, which it very well may be, but I have to kind of, you know, I can't portray that, and the way I do that, like I said, I just, you know, I think being silly and, you know, trying to find the humor in things, and, you know, just smiling or trying to find a positive to spin to put on things is huge.
Well, totally. So, oh, by the way, I do want to thank King's Fine Woodworking. If you guys have not, so I met him on a hangout maybe a few weeks ago, and actually I've been following him on Instagram. JP, if you could link him, if you would, his channel. If you haven't seen his channel,
no worries.
Thank you, dude. If you haven't seen his channel, it's amazing builds. I mean, there's this vise made out of wood, and like, was it Purple Heart? James, was it Purple Heart? I think it was Purple Heart and Paducah. And just massive freaking vise, wooden, and so many different. So you should check it out if you haven't seen Kings. So thank you, dude. So Doc, I want to go back a little bit so we can place you and have a better picture of, you know, where you're from, your goings on as you grew up and all that, you know, in an abbreviated fashion or however you'd like. So my question is, where are you from? Where do you hail from? And give us a picture of your early life, if you could.
All right. I am from the town of Rosetto, Pennsylvania, which is a very, very small town that my whole life was populated by Italian immigrants, Italian Americans. My grandparents being of that tribe. Grew up kind of small town, one generation in the past, because it just kind of worked out to be like that I was kind of one generation removed from kind of what was going on around me. So I kind of had a real small town upbringing.
When you say one generation removed, are you saying that they were Italian and they moved here and you're like first generation, or what do you
no, I'm sorry. 2 generations removed from Italy.
Okay.
But when I say compared to what was going on pop culture wise, like it was almost like things did, like I didn't have a TV, which I did, but like things just got to me slowly. Things didn't break through to, you know, acceptable culture until, you know, a year behind, and people acted like they were like, you know, my mom acts like, you know, most people's grandmothers do, like, oh, you can't, like her hang-ups, and, you know, and it was just a product of that, you know, very, very strict Italian Catholic upbringing. That's just how we were, you know what I mean? I grew up very, very by the book, and, you know, had a very, very strong family to back me, and, you know, I have no complaints about it at all. But that's kind of how I grew up, you know, Italian family.
And well, go ahead, continue.
You know, a lot of aunts, a lot of uncles, a lot of cousins. Went to Catholic school. I graduated high school with probably 40 kids. I was captain of the football team. I was captain of the baseball team. I was in the sports when I was younger. For sure.
What was so let me ask this, you know, so what was the music, and what were the things like pop culture wise that were influencing you from the outside in? Music wise,
you have to once again, when I was younger, like I said, it was very one generation removed. Like I didn't have people, you couldn't.
So you were totally into Dean. So you were totally into Dean Martin.
No, not like that, but like, you know, all the things that were going on in the 90s and the grunge and the good music.
You didn't participate?
I listened to all of it, but I don't think I got it. Like I wasn't understanding what was going on as well as I should have. And maybe it's just, you know, because I was young and you don't know, but I remember like really being into some of it, you know, bands that I'm still into today, you know, Pearl Jam and, you know, Green Day and just the bands that were out, and it being really cool, but not getting it. And then when I got to be, you know, of college age, you know, musically, things started getting a little weird, and I started like, you know, Stranger stuff and things like that. And now it's all over the place. Like I can listen to just about anything, but
all right. Well, so right. Well, so let's move forward in time a little bit. And how did you come about making stuff? You know, when was that? when you started to earnestly pursue? When was that?
Well, my grandfather, my mom's dad now, was a mechanic his whole life. And so I was always around tools and saw him working with tools. And Pop was one of those guys that could fix anything and, did some really, really, really reinforced woodworking. You know what I mean? He could fix stuff, but, boy, it was ugly, but it was strong. So, even when I was younger, I recall really, being into working with tools, and I could always get by. I was a hack, but I think everyone's a hack when they're younger. That's where it started, and everybody my age was going to go to college and make $1 million being a computer programmer or whatever, and that didn't work out. So, working with my hands was kind of always where I thought it would end up. It was more a matter of figuring out, where and how. And I think my trades work started, and then the making came from that. You know what I mean? I'd see guys with custom shelves in their vans and stuff like that they'd made out of plywood laying around. And, I'd always been real into that. You'd see like carpenters on site with like special, toolboxes that they'd made. And, you see things like that in specialty organizers and things specific to them. And I've always been very real inspired by that. That's always something that's really, really gotten to me. Was I always like custom stuff. Like, look, that's the only one in the world that guy has. He built it for himself. It might be a little clunky or whatever, but he did it himself for him.
So, actually mentioning that, you do have a few custom items that you've shown in the past. I have seen you. Do you have have you ordered something from Tony Rolu? In the works, or is that secret? And I'm saying it.
No. Just I have a square coming. It's just a little bit. I ordered one of Tony's squares, but mine's gonna be a little bit different, I believe, than the norm.
How so?
Just very, very plain. He showed pictures of that run that he did with the shotgun theme, where they were steeled and blued with walnut and brass. Mine's not going to have any brass on it. It's just going to look like a field shotgun, which I was really into. Something that looked, 100 years old.
Now, getting to, actually, JP, if you have any questions or want to chime in, or the chat outside, feel free.
I'm going to ask a question that came from Jake Thompson, which I forgot to ask from last time, and it is: what is your favorite project to date?
Favorite project to date? Man, I don't know. I get asked that a lot, and I really don't have a good answer for that. The shop is my favorite project to date. That's what I've been working on the longest. And, just the progression of my shop, to be honest with you. I don't know if that's a cop-out, but I can't think of anything more, that I put more time into or, invested more money or than that. And it's not the big, it's the little. It's the fact that I can come in here and fix something quick, or make something quick. I think I take more satisfaction from that than any one thing that I've made.
Your shop reminds me, and I'm not the only one that said it, especially when you're on Hangouts. And I wish, I don't know if you do have, but if you could sometime take a picture, maybe after the show some point, I'm making you do things, of your shop with the wide angle lens, how it looks. Dude, to me, it looks like Jimmy DeResta's underground cavern. If you guys haven't seen it or been on Hangouts with Doc, that's my impression. When you put it in the corner, it's like, is that true?
There was actually a funny story one day. We was all in a hangout. It was going back a while, and we was all sitting in there, and all of a sudden, Doc's wall just moved. I was like, "What the hell is going on?" It's sort of, we thought he was all underground, but it turns out he was actually in his garage or garage, however you want to pronounce it. And he's got like I think it's the one. Is it the one that's got the American flag? Is the actual isn't it a door? But it all looks enclosed. It doesn't look like it. All just looks like it's one underground room. But you'd never know that there was a door there looking at the shop.
That's hilarious.
So
So it started
and all of a sudden the whole thing just lifted. The whole wall just moved.
That's my false wall.
The whole wall just moved.
What a trip!
It's actually when I'm done, which may never, but my shop is actually going to be. I'm moving my bedroom downstairs, so on the other side of the wall here. So I'm going to be sitting in my shop right now, maybe about 35 feet from my bed, 30 feet from my bed, maybe. And I'm actually going to go through my closet to walk into the shop, so I may do some sort of Batman false wall or bookshelf that moves or whatever to get into the shop.
That'd be pretty cool.
Definitely thinking about something like that.
Saying that you stand in it and then it just spins.
Yep. But going back to that, like I think it's because the walls, they're full of stuff. I've got a lot of crap packed in here. And, fluorescent lights overhead and white walls and wide angle lens.
So I want to now move into YouTube and the maker community as I found it, or as you found it before me, the group of people that we all know, like all these people in the chat and stuff, the Matt Branders and everyone. How did that all happen? How did you come across and become part of the maker community as we see it, right? At least this little corner of the universe.
Through Facebook, I would say. You have your stuff out there, and you once the algorithm picks up what you're looking at and what you're doing, it starts suggesting groups to go into, and that.
Who were the people that you came across first that we all know? Who were the ones that
YouTube?
No, just who were the people you started, like, whatever,
the first time I got into YouTube, I think I searched for Jimmy DeResta because I was watching the stuff that he had on TV at the time, and then his channel was fairly new, and I was like, okay, so this is what I watch now. So then you started seeing names in the comments and whatever, and different people. I'll tell you what, the first name I really remember hearing about someone that I had met online was Pat Lapp, because I used to watch Carl Jacobson's videos. Well, I still do, but that was OG Carl Jacobson from back in the day, and when he would shout out people that had done things, Pat was always mentioned. He's like, oh, Pat from Canada and Pat Lapp. And then, so you start hearing these names, and then Facebook starts, suggesting groups, and then you get into those groups, and then, you start seeing these names, and you start commenting on things, and the usual suspects you usually find, what I mean? It's like, oh, I think that's funny. He finds that funny too.
Dude, and Pat Lapp was one of my first subscribers, by the way.
Oh yeah, back when I had 25 subscribers, Pat was the first person to ever share my link and try to panhandle for subs for me. Like, could we, I remember that was huge. I was like, oh my god.
Well, I was like, he subscribed to me. I saw it, and I was like, I wrote back, oh dude, thank you for for the subbing me, dude. And he writes back and he says, yeah, man, no problem. It actually sounded, although you can't hear it actually, yeah, don't worry about it, man. And then the unsubscribe things. What a trip the guy is. So Pat Lapp. Who else? Back then.
As far as watching still,
not watching still, just people from back
people
then.
from back then, JP is one of those guys. Always showed up.
How'd you come across JP?
Just
I think that's mainly through the Maritime show, wasn't it?
That's right.
Maritime Makers is. I did a YouTube video. My first one was for the Keith Decent Challenge, and that was just because Keith just started tagging a bunch of people. Everyone should do this upcycle challenge, and he tagged me in it. And I was like, all right, well, you know what? I've consumed enough videos. I should try to create one, maybe it'd be my one and only. And I did, and I was lucky enough to win that. So that kind of set the hook. And then, once you have one video, that begets another, and then you start seeing people show up in the comments, and then, hey, you want to talk about that? And then I was asked to be on Maritime Makers. Shout out to Matt and Jay. How we doing tonight, guys?
Yeah. Still haven't had my spotlight, guys.
Yeah. We're still waiting on that. We don't even have to invite them, but we should have one for them.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I started becoming a semi-regular panel member on that, and I think that's kind of how any notoriety I have kind of came forward. And I like to think that any notoriety I have is from, I don't know, hopefully being a good member of the community, putting my dollar in whenever it was needed. You know what I mean? I try to help people if they need tech support, or if I can. I try to keep the signal to noise down, but I try to be helpful when I can and positive when I can. And I think that goes a long way.
Now, there is a subject I want to touch upon. And sometimes things are best left alone, sometimes no, but I'll just mention this. That YouTube recently has been doing, and it happened to me today. I realized that I posted a video. Geez, I don't know, whatever. Me at the fair, but I did a double shot, episode where I'm at the fair, but I'm also preparing like 4 of those bottle cap openers, like the primitive ones made out of oak. I had a freaking door slam on my foot after the hurricane. I got pissed at that piece of door, which is an inanimate object, so we're all nuts. And I chopped it up, and I'm using it for different projects. And well, YouTube freaking hit it with not, what's the word they say? Not suitable for most.
Yeah, not suitable for most advertisers.
Right. So it's kind of like a automatic response algorithm. Who knows what the hell, everybody. I don't know, but so I pressed the button to appeal, and it cleared my stuff up and this and that. And but like every time you post a video, now stuff is, so it is what it is. Who knows, right? But you got slammed a week ago.
Yeah, a week or so ago, I got an email, not from YouTube, but from AdSense. And basically it said that I was disabled, not suspended, but disabled for invalid click activity. So upon further appeal, I appealed it without a lot of information, basically because I didn't know what the heck they were even talking about, because they don't give you a lot of information. And then from that, my appeal was declined. So further research, and it turns out that I was at work and working at a university, a lot of shared internet going on there. I was signed in to my Google account, checking my email, and I probably left it up. I do that from time to time on my work computer, walk away from it. Someone had signed in on one of the other computers or one of the open computers and hadn't signed in. I don't have all the information. And he was watching my videos and clicking the ads and had been doing this, off and on, thinking he was helping me out. And basically, after all the research I could do, there's not much I can do to prove that that was not me, which is what they're looking for. You know what I mean? And I don't. You have to be making like $25 a day with AdSense to get email support. So basically, I'm in a never-ending customer service loop where I can keep appealing it, and then 2 hours they'll send me their form appeal letter that it was revoked or whatever. And that's kind of where I am with that. I'm not really into I don't know, not fighting it. I want to fight it, but at the same time, I'm not going to go and spend a lot of time and effort on something that's not going to yield anything for me right now. Like, it's something that down the line may become an issue, but I just can't, the money that was in that account or supposed to be in that account was so minuscule that I should probably go and look for a change in the cushions, because it would be a better short-term plan. In the long term, it may screw me, it may not. I'm not. We'll see how that goes down. But that's pretty much what I think is going on. I asked the guy kind of like on the slide, you know what I mean, if he was doing that, and he told me, yeah, but I don't want to say anything more to the guy because he thought he was doing me a favor, and I don't want to make him feel awful about it. It's not really. Well, what are we gonna do?
Yeah, I would personally want to kick his ass. I'll tell you right now. But I understand, of course, he was thinking he was doing a favor.
His heart was in the right place.
Yeah. Well, listen, I appreciate you mentioning that. And it's a tough thing. Number one, your content is incredibly, detailed, and you consider many angles and stuff, and that's one thing that pissed me off, because it's such a cold, computerized frickin', you know what I'm saying, there's no human interaction to be able to say, hey, look, this and this, and corrective measures could be taken and stuff, and we're all at the mercy of that for whatever given reason at any given time. We don't know, do we?
Oh no, that's what I take from it. Like the positive spin I put on that is there was no money in that account. I lost nothing except the ability to do something, and I'll take that. It's not like I had money in there. It's not like I count on that money for anything. So it is a bad situation, but yeah, all things considered, it could have been way worse.
Well, this is why a lot of people, and you've seen it out there, not to throw any names, but you've seen people where they expand, so they have multiple places that they can earn revenue for their work, be it, T-shirts, like what you've been doing prior to all this anyhow.
Mm-hmm.
So, you guys out there, just sharing Doc's links to his T-shirts over there on Facebook will help the dude out, and also having the logo, it promotes the guy as well. So that's a cool thing. There's places like Patreon and websites. That's why also, this is a good segue to explain too, because we all love doing what we do. And really, it's pennies or 0.00 pennies on the dollar that most people get from their efforts through this, and that's just something that one sees. Now, that's not knocking the system necessarily. It's just stating a fact. And I'll say that there's options such as websites. That's why we work with Steve from Harneal Media. All of us do. I think Jared is looking to do a website. I don't know, but I know JP Maritime Makers. JP has a website through him. I do. Makers International. Chad from Man Crafting, Javi's Wood Shop, Portal Woodworks. Who else? Patrick's Workshop.
They're in. Miter
Mike.
Beetle.
And there's more. And so here's the thing about that, and actually it's pretty good within this topic to mention it. You can have
Lindsay.
What's that?
Mark Lindsay.
Mark Lindsay. How dare we not mention Mark?
Yeah.
Which we have to get on here as well.
Yeah.
For the mad, because he's mad. I'll tell you what, Mark is mad.
Yeah. We might have to do like a 4-part show though, because he doesn't stop talking.
I want to say this though, through those websites, one can put up things like, for instance, Patrick's Workshop just did a video, and he does this bad to the bone jig for a router, palm router, so that it can ride the edge and he's got the detailed plans. Apart from the fact that he did his video, which is doing great, by the way, and then he put up the plans. I mean, this is not a secret. This is like he put up the plans. People do this, right? On his website, and people are purchasing the plan. And it's a cool thing because you're not stuck within one, in one place. Just the same, who else is doing stuff? Well, Harneal, Steve, he's got Eagles General, and he's putting out shirts as well. Portal Woodwork. Oh, by the way, Portal Woodworks. If you guys, I don't know how many of you guys have a bandsaws, but there's a bandsaw challenge that's going down. It starts. Boy, I wish I knew when it starts. But if Portal could write it down, if he is out there,
it starts. I think it starts 1st of December through 31st of December. Well, it runs through December anyway. I know that. It's a video that's just come out on it. It's on Portal Woodworks on YouTube. I'll put a video. I'll put the link over on YouTube now.
Right. So what you do is you check out his video, subscribe to his channel, check out his videos. That's David Jones from Georgia. Portal Woodworks. It's a green, round, portal-looking logo. And the winner gets all sorts of prizes. I forget I know there's money involved, so that's always a good thing.
There's a $100 gift card, $50 gift card, $25 gift card, and there's many different kinds of T-shirts. There's a podcast T-shirt that we're giving away. I think Mike's giving a T-shirt away. Portal Woodworks is giving a T-shirt away. I think there's loads of T-shirts being given away as well.
The key is with that thing, that challenge is that, which threw me at first. He says it's got to be made from one block chunk of wood. I heard it because people were talking while I was watching the video. You have to go check it out. One chunk of wood, and I'm like, damn, man. I like to dissect. I like to dissect my stuff and get it prepped and stuff. And then he said you can laminate pieces, but as long as you start off with a block. But if you want to look at, go ahead, JP. I'm sorry.
No, sorry. That's exactly what I was going to say. You can segment it if you like, but and stick it all together so you can make it look as pretty as you like. But as long as you actually start from one solid block, everything is all good.
Right.
So the prep work can be segmented and whatever, but as long as you originally start from one block, everything's good.
Right. So yeah. So are there any questions out there? Anything in reference to what we've been talking about?
I briefly went away for 2 secs because I was just getting David's link. But give me 2 secs. I'll be going back over there in right now. Right, I can quickly just say who's over in the chat at the moment. You got Mark Lindsay over in the chat, Jim Bashir, Jim Dockrell, sorry. Al Forte, Mrs. Sterling Davis, Bobby Duke is over there. Dan Brent, who actually won the Magazine International Podcast sponsorship giveaway. So congratulations, Mr. Dan Brent. Matt Hoss is over there. Dan the Maker Man's over there. Mike's over there. Robin Jacobson's over there. Cacao. Katie Dotson's over there.
Jake Thompson.
Yeah, Jake's over there. Bear Attic Woodshop's over there. Man Crafting is over there. King's Fine Woodworking. King's Fine Woodworking is over there. And I'm over there.
That's another thing to add to.
Techhead Fireman. Nick.
What's up, Nick?
Nick's name? Yeah, Nick. That's his name. Yeah.
That's my buddy Nick.
And Steve is over there as well.
Steve Nealon.
Steve Nealon. Yeah, of course, Steve Nealon.
What's up, Steve? Thanks for everything.
Oh yes, check out the Harneal Media.
And I think Jim Bashir is trying to wind me up.
Why? What's he saying?
I'm not going to repeat it.
Well, how dare he? So, anyways, just to wrap up that line of it pisses me off, dude. Because consider me, you know, a friend, always with positive vibes towards you. And I've been teed off about that, and I've been thinking of ways. So I'll be supportive of you, whatever you do. You can always, you know, count on me within my abilities. So yeah. Any final words on that? I'm glad you were open to talk about that, because it's like a sour grape, right?
You kind of hiccup there. You want to repeat that one time? That was a bad copy.
Oh, I said screw you, man. No, I said
Well, that's enough then.
no, I said that consider me a friend, and this is a sore subject, but you know, anything that I could do to help within my powers, you know, ideas and whatnot. I'm, you know, here for.
Oh, I appreciate that. You know, you especially the two of you, you know, dear internet friends and, you know, buds of mine, and, you know, I find things funny, you know, throughout the day. You'll probably get a message from me, you know, something stupid. And, you know, I appreciate having you guys to bounce things off of, because, you know, before I had maker friends and people that were like-minded, I used to have to try to explain these things to people that weren't into it, or, you know, I mean, just, I don't know. It was really hard to work my way through a plan or an idea before. It's much easier now to be like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, and like people are excited, and, you know, we do something I call, you know, you don't want to shit all over people, but, you know, we're very, very good at telling each other what we should and shouldn't do. But it's just nice to have that, you know, people trying to make together. I appreciate that wholeheartedly.
Now the we did mention in the beginning the what you call the video style, but we didn't necessarily mention the video like build itself and the builds themselves. You always pick, and again, you are picky with what you decide on. So you do. There is a lot of back. At least it appears to me, before you make the decision that this is what you want representing your channel, you go through and really tediously dissect, and that's my perception. I could be wrong. Am I wrong?
Yes and
if
no.
I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
No, yes and no.
Hey, you can't do yes and no. What the heck?
No, I'll elaborate. Yeah, in my head, it's perfect. I've got it all figured out. And then, you know, and I'm just trying to fit everything in that nice, neat little box. You know what I mean? I'm trying, when I put out my videos, especially the last ones, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, I want to stay in that pocket, 4 minutes. I'm looking for the perfect pop song. You know, in and out, maybe catchy, something that, you know, you haven't seen or heard. You know, this is something different, and get out mid video. There's always something that happens via the project that, you know, I'm not one of those people that's like showing the fails. Like I appreciate that, but I don't know if that fits in with my style or what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't come off that I'm pompous and I do everything right the first time. It's just not really what's going on in here. My videos really aren't like how-tos, or they're more like I'm more like a maker music video. Like, I don't know how much how-to and knowledge can be gleaned from what I'm doing.
Well, the ideas and inspiration.
Right. I'm just trying to like push an idea, or, you know.
Like, I just totally ripped off what you call Patrick's workshop. When he has a video, he'll do a project, and this isn't this video that I'm working on now, but it's my interpretation of what he does. He gave me the inspiration, and it's nothing like it. But the point is, it's the ripoff from it. You know, every artist is a cannibal. Every poet is a thief. They all steal their inspiration and then sing about their grief. That's U2. I hate that band, but that quote is bad to the bone. Patrick shows the logo in the middle, like a little pop-up commercial. Boom, and then boom, and then he goes back to his stuff, and then halfway, boom, logo. And then he goes back to his, and it's cool because it keeps you excited. Oh, when's that? Like a little kid, like a little hamster with a little feeding on the thing. You feel like, when's the next logo coming? And it keeps you entertained. So I like that. So I'm using that. But go ahead. I'm sorry. That was a bad segue.
No, that's kind of where my style came from. It's also, my style is very, very as the effect of what I'm capable of editing wise. I'm sure I would do more if I was capable of more and knew how to do more. I'm in the process of kind of learning that and building a machine to keep up with that. But where I'm at and what I'm doing is very indicative to, you know, the equipment I have, and I wouldn't blame it on that at all. But you know, I'm playing all the chords I know as fast as I can. Is basically what it comes down to.
The last video you did was pretty freaking gnarly. You had your you made a screwdriver, and I want you to just give the folks that seen it and those that had not, you know, just give them a brief overview of that. I like that you take these things and make these tools. I think you did. What was that thing that you took a bunch of aluminum that you made I don't know the prior one, I can't quite picture it, but
The nail pen.
Yeah, the nail pen. But so there are all these ideas that, you know, create this. I love that, but I missed this last one with the screwdriver. At the end of the screwdriver, you had left a freaking coin in there, and I totally missed it at the end, that Easter egg, which is what it was. What a dumb thing for me to miss, right? It's such an obvious thing.
Well, you know, it's one of those things that I probably could have did a better job of putting it in there. You know, but once the video is filmed, I usually don't go back and try to refilm things. I put things pretty much in their perspective as they were. I also tried to use a picture of that on Instagram as kind of like a teaser for that video. So that's what another, we'll call it, strategy that I was trying to use.
Yeah.
Like that way.
So explain the what you did to create that, and just explain that briefly, if you would.
All right. Well, I had purchased forever ago a screwdriver kit, the kind of, you know, with the insert that you turn, and never really had an idea what I was going to do to it, to put my spin on it. Something different. As a matter of fact, while I'm talking here, I'll just grab it.
Yeah, cool.
My spin, what I wanted to do with it, and it sat for a while, and that's kind of how things work with me. I'll get something, and I'll just kind of put it there, and I kind of wait for inspiration, or, well, I heard a tattoo artist one time call it waiting for a dragon to fly by. There's the penny.
Very cool.
And it just kind of came to me. I was looking through a drawer and I found these two air fittings, and I liked the way that they were knurled. And I thought, well, if I could do something with that knurled end, it would be real nice, because I didn't want to do like the solid wood like everybody does on the lathe. Usually, you know, my style is I try to incorporate, I don't want to call it junk, but, you know, items that, you know, would be thrown away or, you know, sit in a junk pile forever.
Almost steampunkish. Almost steampunkish, I said. Not necessarily, but, you know, that concept of grabbing things and making them into a brand new thing.
Yeah. My stuff kind of always comes out looking that way a little bit. I don't know if steampunk's exactly the word, but it's close. I kind of like hardware store punk. Like, you know what I mean? I kind of like more like that. Like, I don't have like the gauges and stuff. And I've done things. I built a mirror for my wife upstairs before, you know, pictures of things were a thing, and that had like the watch parts on it. And it wasn't anything I even really thought of or like looked at, or it was before like the internet was something that I really looked at for inspiration. And then I showed it to somebody and like, oh, that's really that's steampunk. And I was like, I've never even heard of that before. And then they explained it to me, and yeah, somehow everything I build kind of ends up looking like that. One way or
It
another.
kind of reminds me as if like Jimmy Clousers to invent a screwdriver. You
Yeah, I would see that.
know? It's kind of got his sort of style connector. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Who?
somewhere between that.
Who?
He's a English wood turner.
Oh,
He makes wood turning tools. A very very good wood turner as well. Lives in Vegas.
oh, cool. Sin City.
Yeah, it's I don't really set out to do it, but kind of everything I make seems to have that look about it. So I guess I would call that my style.
Very cool. And you mentioned Keith Decent earlier and Matt Haas, and they're all local. Well, rough. I mean, within your general. No, that's not true. Keith Decent is way north of you. No.
Actually, I think I'm closer to Keith's house than I am to Matt Haas's place.
Oh
Pennsylvania.
wow.
Pennsylvania is very long, east to west, wide, rather, and it takes a long time. So I've been to Matt. This is hard to say. I've been to Matt Haas's house, and I've been to the Decent lair, and I think it's actually quicker for me to get to Keith's.
Wow.
But I get out and about as often as I can. It's something that's important to me. I don't do it nearly enough. I'd have different people to my shop before, and it really is nice to get out and meet these people, and put your hand in theirs and see what they have going on, and go get a bite to eat, and ask questions and be put in situations that you normally wouldn't be before. I think that's very important still. There's only so much you can accomplish on the internet.
Yeah. So, like, you mean real face-to-face encounters actually mean something still?
I think so. Nothing.
You're so 1990s and back. That's so yesterday.
I agree, but at the same time, like, goes a long way with me. Like, let's go get something to eat.
They they drone in. They drop the little Domino's pizza thing. You put the money in or you pass the little card reader, and it goes. Zzz. You don't have to see anybody, ever.
Yeah, that's dangerous too. I was saying that before about that place I was, and I was kind of trying to shut off the world, and I don't. That ain't it either.
So you wouldn't go to a remote, place somewhere out in the middle of nowhere and live out the rest of your days and let your beard grow down to your frickin' knees.
Oh, I would.
Thank you. Good. Damn right.
I like the idea of that, but it's good to get out every once in a while. It's good to get out into town, go put on your dancing shoes, and, eat with, tuck your shirt in, stuff like that. Keeps you honest.
All right. So, are there any final questions, JP?
Yeah, we've got a final question from Bales, and I'm kind of reluctant to ask it, to be honest, because I know how much Eloy likes to rabbit on. He says, "What's Doc's current project?"
Current project. I have two things going on right now. I have a hammer that I'm making out of a bat and a T-pipe fitting.
Nice.
And
that's if that's not steampunk, I don't know what is.
Yeah, it's been done before, but my own little spin on it.
Yeah.
Basically, what I'm going to do now is trying to make like ordinary things. I don't want to say in an extraordinary way because that's not really what I'm trying to do, but things that I can use, little things like utilitarian items. I'm into that right now.
Nice. All right. So, Anything other from the chat, dude?
No, not much. Matt Hoss is out there. Mr. Mike YouTube. Jimbo Shears. That's Niantic River Woodworking with Chris Nealon, Sterling Bales, Mark Lindsay, Dan the Maker Man, Katie Dotson's still out there, and the rest of the usual mad
Suspects,
people.
the
The usual
crazies.
mad people. Yeah.
So, Doc, let me take this opportunity to thank you for joining us here. It's really a pleasure for you opening up this is like maker's cribs, right? Letting us into your builder's space crib. I really did. You enjoy coming here and
oh, of course, I love you guys. I'd talk to you with my free time even if we weren't on a show. I do it at least 5 times a week. So
you'll come back
anytime. I told you when it's finally time to put you in the spotlight and JP takes your chair, I'm going to fill in the JP chair. And
okay, so yeah, we'll do that.
Hacky accent the whole time.
Yeah, I'm totally JP. How do you feel about that?
Yeah.
Heck
I'll
yeah,
wear my
dude.
chicken hat.
So, do you want to shout anybody out? Also, any final thoughts, and also where folks could support you, check out your shirts and all that stuff. I'll leave links below. I'm gonna have to add some links because I might be missing a few links down there.
Fine. We'll take care of it. Most active, probably, I don't know. Most active on Instagram, Jared Hildabrant. That's my Instagram handle. So at Jared Hildabrant. My Teespring campaign, which is teespring.com/Jared Hildabrant. So that'll take you to the jump off to find those shirts. My shout out would be to everybody still watching and anybody that might watch this. You're more important to the baker community than you are. Whether you're no one's got 1 million subscribers in the chat or anything like that, but whether you're someone that considers themselves a consumer or someone that's out there doing stuff, every cog is important that it spins, and in a bigger machine. That's what we have going here. And, thank you for that. Thank you to anybody that's given me any support. It means the world to me. My new stance is, stop taking shit so seriously. Like, really, it's not that bad, probably. Go talk to your neighbor. He's probably not as bad a person as you think he is. And, call your mother. She misses you. That's what I've kind of come up with, to put a bow on it. Eloy's buddies were right. Love is all you need. And I hate to be a hippie about it, but with my family and my new way of thinking, and that has to be right. I have to believe that that's right. And
I agree.
Even if it's not right, I'm gonna pretend it is.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for that. I agree with you that love is all you need. Bottom line, if you look at all the hissy fits in the world and all the issues and all the stuff, bottom line, people, it's true. Now, with that said, I'm gonna have to throw this out there. You're not a maker if you don't have a knife right there next to you. You got one, JP? You're gonna have to talk so it can.
Yeah.
All right. And that goes for you guys out there too in the chat. If you don't have a freaking knife, if you can't pull out, if you can't look to the side and say, I got a knife, you've got maker issues. There is a 1-800 number, and go dial that damn number. Anyways, look, JP, any final words and all that stuff?
Smell my finger.
That's all you got?
Yeah.
All right. guys, thank you for checking it out. Appreciate it. Thank you, Kings. Thank you, Charles. Thank you guys very much. Catch you next time, and be good.